So if I have a problem today, the earliest they're going to see me is 4 to 5 months, or I can call them every week to see if they have an opening.
What like, your bespoke Bloody Mary doctor 4 to 5 months in advance?
Yeah.
I guess that's, sadly probably not unusual.
No, it's not because I have two doctors like that. And it's a man, it's a pain in the butt. And that's not even what I'm going to see them for. Like it's figurative, folks, figurative. Welcome to Garage Sales Unhinged.
Where the characters are as quirky as the vines.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Jake.
Join us as we dive into the wild world of garage sales, yard sales, estate sales, and anywhere secondhand sales are happening.
From bizarre bargains to hilarious haggles.
You won't believe the stories we've got lined up.
Let's get unhinged. Hi, Julie. How are you doing?
I'm good, Jake. How are you?
You look fantastic. You're all like done up. We can see each other on video. Our listeners can't see that, but you look wonderful. What the hell?
I just got back from brunch with the lady, so I did not have any alcohol at lunch because I had to drive a long ways, but I got dressed up for the lady friends.
Oh, that's fantastic. Where if may I ask where you went? What kind of restaurant was it? So you don't have to give away too much. What kind of restaurant?
I mean, it was just like American food. I think it was the location was picked because they have one of those Bloody Marys that is a meal in itself.
Mm.
It kind Some of my friends got the Bloody Mary, and it comes with two very large, thick strips of bacon, some cocktail shrimp, a fried chicken thigh, a Nolan Ryan slider burger, um, the celery, the okra, the olive, like, it's a monstrosity, but it's also a meal, and also the Bloody Mary was actually pretty good. I tasted one of them, but it's a little bit thicker than your what you may get at a normal restaurant, so it's more like a, alcoholic gazpacho, uh, but yeah, so it was just brunch with the ladies.
I kind of like so they throw in the chicken thigh. These are things are all on the skewer, so it's all big and crazy.
There's multiple skewers, but yes, it is meant to be a presentation and, yeah.
That
And also, I should clarify, the chicken is, like, they're known for spicy chicken or something.
okay.
Oh, also on there was waffle fries, like, it's the complete package of heartburn and indigestion.
I mean, the Bloody Mary really seems like the restaurateur's blank canvas for creativity because everybody's just fine. I mean, it's brunch, it's 10 a.m. and I want to drink, so I'm fine if you sneak something random on these skewers. So you've got the chicken thigh, you've got the waffle fries, you've got like a 1998 tax return, you've got a pencil sharpener, you've got it's just begging for creativity. I like that.
Yeah, you can really do it. I mean, I've also seen some crazy things done with milkshakes, but, I probably wouldn't put a chicken thigh on a milkshake, but maybe that's un-American of me. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, you really do gotta get more patriotic. Well, it's I really wasn't planning on it. You're gonna think this was planned. It wasn't. But I wanted to talk a little bit about restaurants today.
Oh, I was like, me being unpatriotic? Like, oh
No,
gosh,
yeah,
calling
yes,
me out.
exactly. Yeah, we've been keeping tabs on you. Uh,
Okay, so we're talking about restaurants and how that deals with garage sales, estate sales, yard sales, secondhand sales. Is that Are you connecting the dots for me?
you're dressed as though you went to church. Can you try to have some faith?
Ha ha, connecting the dots. La
Oh.
la la la.
So, yes, there is a connection. Well, I'll get to it in a moment. I have some lead up questions, getting up to the topic. Is that okay? Can I ask you a few things going up to it?
I'll allow it.
Okay, great.
And if
Well,
I
thank you.
don't, I'll just edit it out.
Right. So, if you can't pick a favorite, I'll ask you to name a favorite sit down restaurant of yours.
That's well known or just
Just
Julie, you just say.
yours. Like, don't worry about what other people think. You do you. What is a favorite sit down restaurant of yours?
There's a local steakhouse near my house called Steefield's.
And what makes it so great?
One, driving distance, it's a very short drive.
Yeah.
Um, Two, my husband and I would like to go over there, at the end of a long work week in the bar, and they have a really good happy hour, and at the end of happy hour at 6:30, there is a lovely gentleman that gets up to the piano, and he sings songs and plays the piano, and that's your signal that happy hour is over, but also it is just entertaining, and as the martinis are starting to pull their effect, it is becomes a sing-along, and I love it.
I like the idea of somebody going up there, and it's like the regular thing. "Oh, we have the piano in place, and here comes Roger. Roger is gonna play now at 6:30, and he has no training. He does no idea how to play a piano, or maybe he does, and he's just doing renditions of Insane Clown Posse songs."
How do you know? You've been there, that's awesome. No,
Yeah.
actually, the gentleman gets up there, he plays every, evening that they have a piano player, but if he's very talented, he's actually really good, but it's also sad because you can tell the people that came there just for happy hour, because then they just get up and walk out, and I'm like,
Let's
"That's
see.
so lame, he's really good, guys, stay."
It really does stick. You kind of feel you hate that. You feel bad for the person that's, doing their thing and people are just kind of, filing out because now, beers cost 2 more bucks. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite, fast food?
Uh, I feel like this is a no. I'm trying to think really hard without creating some dead air.
Well, no,
Um,
like, to be like, let me, clarify a little bit. If you were to, like, want a definition of fast food, I feel like that's changed over time. Like, there's places that people call fast casual, which I think is Chipotle. I mean, the casual part is that you can go in there in flip-flops. The fast is the diarrhea that ensues. But fast food is kind of a broader category now. So I figure that's kind of available to you in this moment as well.
yeah, maybe because I just had brunch, nothing comes to mind. I
Yeah,
will say,
sure.
so here's the thing, whenever I'm traveling overseas, McDonald's, 'cause at McDonald's internationally, globally, there is the constant of comfort food, and so whenever you've been having this international grub for several days and maybe your stomach is a little bit queasy, upset, you go to McDonald's and it kinda just level sets yourself. Um, but McDonald's isn't my go-to if I'm, like, in a mad dash between things and I just need to stop and get some food. Um, okay, so no one shoot the messenger. Honestly, I like it, my husband hates it. I like Taco Bell.
Oh, controversial.
And I should clarify, I like Taco Bell because they brought back the Mexican pizza.
Oh god, I am totally with you. Yes.
But it's not the Mexican pizza of our childhood because they don't put the black olives on it anymore,
Forgot the black
and
olive.
I did not. That is what I'm missing in my life, but yeah, the Mexican pizza, chef's kiss, I love it.
I do remember that they used to put, chopped green onions, scallions on there, and
Probably still did. Maybe I'm wrong.
maybe in your fancy part of town, they still do, where crooners, appear in the streets at 6:30 as you're, washing down your chicken thigh with your alcoholic gazpacho. Where the hell do you live? They used to put, green onions on there, and I think they stopped after, enough people got listeria. And, I I guess we don't that's not taken quite as seriously now, but that's okay. I will
There's so many ways to get listeria, don't blame it on the green onions, like, put the green
Right.
onions back on the Mexican pizza.
Those were the healthiest part of that meal. It's just not fair.
Honestly, it was. It was the only greenery on it.
Right, right, it's the only real food item.
The other stuff was just cheese and fried.
In my sadder moments in life, I will tell you that I have enjoyed a Mexican pizza while driving. Um, yeah.
That that's a lot of talent and probably illegal in 37 states.
Well, it's bold. It's the driving portion, and the fact that you're eating Taco Bell means that in more ways than one, you have a death wish.
That is true. Whenever I hate myself, I go eat at Long John Silver's because you might as well just compound it.
Yeah. So I ask you all these things, to one, broach a couple of facts. One, when it comes to eating out, there are tiers of experience.
I feel like
Look,
you just profiled me. So like somebody out there's listening and going, "We got her. We know her
right,
whole makeup now."
we triangulated her position. She said Bizarro World's Bloody Mary Emporium, and
Come at
within
me, bro.
striking distance of a Taco Bell and a Long John Silver's.
No one come find me. Please don't.
So you got, you got your Taco Bells, you got your, your self-loathing, day after Long John Silver's type stuff. And it goes on up. Everybody knows the deal. And at the top are like these ultra fancy restaurants or these really buzzy places that good luck getting into, that whole thing.
Mhm.
So, have you eaten at a restaurant that actually required a reservation?
Yes.
What was it?
I mean, I've eaten at a lot of restaurants that require a reservation. Uh, uh,
Again, Julie with the flex. When I want to, I can, get down there with the scum at Taco Bell and Long John Silver's. But, I want you to know I can have a chicken thigh swimming in tomato sauce.
I can. Um, yeah, so here's the thing for our listeners. With the kind of work that my husband does, the kind of work that I do, sometimes you go to places that um require this Jake, this puts me in a tight spot, but like I go to restaurants that require a reservation because they're hard to get into. They're a scene or there's just a lot of business going on. And that's what business people do is that they make reservations and then they expense a very expensive dinner to their company. So yes, I've done that. A lot of times whenever I will say this, a lot of times whenever we go places that require reservation, it's usually around a holiday, so specifically Christmas, and it's hard to get into and you ain't getting in unless you have a reservation. So that's probably it. It's like we've done special nights out with friends and we need to make that reservation to ensure we get a seat.
Yeah, because it's a popular time for people to do that thing. So it's honestly, it's like the practical, responsible thing to do is to try to secure those things ahead of time. It's not just, a status thing necessarily.
Correct.
So, did you know that there is a secondary market for restaurant reservations?
What?
Yes.
Are you planning a garage sale, yard sale, or estate sale and need some help? Look no further than Garage Sale Supply. They provide top notch resources and expert advice to help you host the perfect sale. From pricing tips to promotional strategies, they've got you covered. Visit garagesalesupply.com and make your next sale a success.
So I learned in doing some research that if you've got a reservation at a restaurant, you can resell it on certain platforms.
I don't like this.
So your initial reaction is, "Wait, I'm not sure about this." Why is that?
I mean, I get it for some restaurants that are hard to get into and people have like set their hearts on it or they've told someone, "Hey, I'm getting us here," and then like they call to find out that there's no more reservations. Like I get it, but I also am kind of upset that I've never thought about that doing it. 'Cause, man, I could have made a gold mine.
So, kind of to set the scene, paint the picture of how this works. Normally, this is for really buzzy places that actually take a deposit as part of your reservation,
I was gonna say a lot of the places they require you to put down a deposit because if you don't show up, you're getting charged for it anyway.
which makes total sense. That's probably really good business because you don't want people to do that kind of thing.
Yes.
So this is a situation where you've made the deposit, you're reserving a table for two to four people, whatever, and you can go to these places. I don't want to give them air here necessarily because people might not agree with this practice, but there are places to go to post up the reservation, set your price, and people can bid on it.
Ugh, now this is the hoity-toity. underworld that I didn't want to touch. But also, what's the website? Because I could go and use it.
I could tell you, I've got it here. It's appointment trader.
Okay. Is it just restaurants or can I do it for my doctor's office too? Because man, if I could get a faster
Whoa,
appointment, yeah.
that's an idea. It's a really horrible one and indicative of some really horrible things about
But
the
it's
system
also
and
like
you. But
it,
yeah.
I mean, it's also one of those things of like the American healthcare system, it sucks. And so like if I want to go and see my doctor, like I have a couple of doctors, that if I make an appointment with them, I have to make an appointment 4 to 5 months in advance.
Wow.
So if I have a problem today, the earliest they're going to see me is 4 to 5 months, or I can call them every week to see if they have an opening.
What like, your bespoke Bloody Mary doctor 4 to 5 months in advance?
Yeah.
I guess that's, sadly probably not unusual.
No, it's not because I have two doctors like that. And it's a man, it's a pain in the butt. And that's not even what I'm going to see them for. Like it's figurative, folks, figurative.
So, uh, here's what's happening. Typically, it's among more affluent folks, and some, uh some journalism has been done to show where, for the most part, the trend has started, among Ivy League students that are borrowing, quote unquote, borrowing their parents' American Express Black cards, these really, you know, crazy credit cards,
Ugh.
securing these reservations.
Imagine if our parents had a black card. Just imagine how, like, one, we would never be doing this podcast because we wouldn't need to go secondhand sell shopping. Um, Man, I would be such a heathen if I had access to that kind of card. And I think, honestly, I think our parents knew that, which is why they're like, no, she's got to work for everything she gets.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with access to that kind of, those sorts of resources, you could just buy your own Long John Silver's, franchise location and just go to it, once a quarter.
Uh, I don't honestly, I don't think I hate myself once a quarter, but it is an option.
Well, you need to step up your game. Uh, so they'd get these reservations, turn around, resell them. Allegedly, some of them were making upwards of like 70 to 80 grand a year just doing this. Yeah.
Oh my word! And
That's if you trust the word of an Ivy leaguer, which lately you probably shouldn't.
it's probably inflated by 10x, so they're maybe making 7 to 8 grand, but still, that's a lot for like you can go buy a used Camry for that.
Right. And yeah, that's exactly what the Ivy leaguers are looking for, Julie. The used Camrys. Yes.
I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole of like trash and Ivy leaguers.
So what was interesting to me about this is that it's an aspect of digitalization, with everything going online and new marketplaces, becoming possible. That is worth thinking about. There's new markets for things that you've purchased. That's what makes this kind of germane to what we talk about. So whether it's restaurant reservation, if you've got a pickup truck, there's places where you can just list that you've got a pickup truck for use, and you can either, kind of like an Uber thing, go and do the truck thing for someone, or let them have use, access to your truck. There's like tiers of service, but like, what is a monetizable asset because of internet? That's expanding, and you might not realize that you've got assets that there is a market for.
Okay. I'm gonna yeah, this is my brain's wheels going, my brain wheels. I'm smart, they're called brain wheels. Um, so imagine, okay, so I was joking about buying the used Camry, but let's say that you actually bought on the barrel, no flashy, good car, reliable car,
Mhm.
and then you loaned it out, you leased it to whoever was available for their Uber driver job.
Okay.
So for a person in order to drive for Uber or Lyft or any of the ride sharing places, you have to have a standard of level car in order to say that you work for this company, you can pick up passengers and yada yada yada. In the app, you have to say like, this is my car, this is the license plate and all that stuff. But there's times where the drivers have to switch out a car because maybe their car's in the shop and then they can use their, the partner's car, spouse's car, something like that. I'm going, but if I had a fleet of, because
Corolla, yeah, Corolla.
yeah, Corolla, and let's say I had 5 of them and I could lease them out to people that wanted to drive for Uber, they wouldn't have the expense of the maintenance of the vehicle. I would get a cut. I mean, I wouldn't even get a cut of what they're doing for Uber. They just pay me to rent my car and they could use it whenever, like, hey, I want to drive on Friday and Saturday night to pick up people or to deliver food for DoorDash or what. Could you do that?
Well, at that point, you're kind of splitting up the cost of doing business. You own all of the capital. They are the operations. I don't know how insurance works in this whole thing,
Yeah, that
but
being an issue.
that's for you to figure out with your brain wheels lubricated by Long John Silver's and top shelf tequila, I guess.
Oh my God, that's honestly, if I ever need to get tortured, just give me Long John Silver's and tequila, and that's gonna just ruin my life.
I did have a very bad experience with in with partaking in tequila and Frito pie. It was not good.
Your your brain wills are better than that.
Yeah, yeah. Blame our brother. That's what he had available.
I blame him for a lot of things, but he did not shove that down your throat.
So, this is all just kind of a call to raise awareness that, hey, look, you might have assets that there's actually a platform for you to actually monetize those things. Essentially, if you own something, and frankly, in some situations, even if you're leasing something, it can still create value for you beyond the immediate moment, even down to a restaurant reservation. But Julie, you're bringing up all sorts of other uh, the complicating things around the prospect of doing the same thing with a doctor reservation. But my goodness, can you imagine? I mean, that it's horrible. It's horrible. It's predatory. It shouldn't come down to that. It shouldn't be that you go only get to see the doctor if you're willing to bid, X amount. That really stinks, man. But the way the system is set up now, yeah, that might be a thing.
I mean, honestly, I mean, you get into an auctions situation, the similar thing with, I mean, people are owning a restaurant reservation and that's what they are reselling.
Yeah.
I have a doctor's appointment this coming week that I own that time slot to see that doctor. And if I had leeway of like, hey, that reservation I made with my doctor, I don't need it right now, but if I could sell it and make a couple $100 for someone else that needed to see that doctor sooner rather than later. I know there's a whole ethical piece to this where like, man, that
Totally.
feels bad. But at the same time, it's kind of like the restaurant reservation. I own it. I own that time slot.
I mean, I love that you brought this up because the restaurant wants you to make a deposit to incent you to stay true to the reservation. You show up.
Yeah.
We're going to lose money and we could have served somebody else, but you had to do your whole thing. Is the same not true for doctor's offices? You've got the appointment at 9 o'clock. You didn't show up. Somebody else that could use care could have gotten this slot, but they didn't.
Well, in a lot of doctor's offices now, they say if you don't cancel within 24 hours of your appointment, you get charged $50, whatever it may be. And it's the thing of like, and maybe like, hey, I can't make my doctor's appointment all of a sudden.
Yeah, stuff happens.
But someone that is needing to go see that doctor, go on to this platform, purchase my time slot, and then I can call the office and say, hey, I'm not coming, but Joe Schmo is, and
That
then I'm
way,
not out 50
you know,
bucks.
you had an emergency come up, with a family situation, but you're not out any money because Joe, you know, paid what would have been your cancellation fee, and Joe got to go see the doctor. It's kind of a
Yeah.
win-win.
Thank you, Mr. Schmo.
I like the idea of that happening and the doctor being totally thrown off guard on this. Like, you show up and you're like, "Wait a minute. I was ready to look at elbows, sir.
Joe, this is a
Don't show me
gynecologist's
that. I'm
office.
not ready for that. I gotta get myself psyched up for what you're showing me right now."
It was gonna be a follow-up for, like, a surgery I got, and Joe's there for, like, a big toe problem. I
"Oh,
was like,
no. It's sorry, that's not a toe."
yeah, I guess it would be different with, like, a restaurant reservation of, like, "Sir, we ordered 36 lobsters, and now you're only gonna order a burger." Like, restaurants don't unless you're doing a big event party, they're not gonna do that.
Well, they really should take reservations of any size at the doctor's office. I'm gonna need an appointment at 9 o'clock for 7.
I mean, I think our mom did that whenever we were going to a pediatrician.
That makes sense. I was
Like, if
just
one of
looking
us was sick, she just took all of us and, like, "Get them all done."
yeah. I guess that's only okay when, it's that kind of situation. It's like a parent with children in tow. With other situations, it's not okay. Like, if you're in your 30s, you're like, "I need an appointment for 5." Like, we did some weird things. We all fell on the potato.
I don't wanna explain how she's stuck in there, but she's stuck.
Yeah. Have you heard of a Chinese finger trap doctor?
Oh, man, I think we just lost, like, 6 listeners.
We probably gained another 4.
Yeah, and they're really into it too.
So, is there a restaurant you haven't dined at that you really, really want to?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Uh, there's, like there's a new restaurant in Dallas. It's a steakhouse. Um, I don't wanna mention any of the names on
Sure.
here, but, it's brand new. It was, $20 million to build. Yeah, it's a fancy, fancy restaurant, and so I'd love to go and experience that. Um, there's always restaurants in other countries, like Michelin star restaurants that I'd love to visit. I think there is a food street food vendor, I didn't say that right, brain wells. Street food vendor, either Vietnam or Japan, and they have a Michelin star.
Ooh,
And,
wow.
it's one of those things of like, man, you could spend $5 and have an amazing meal while also smelling car fumes. So, like, um,
That's exactly what I was trying to pull off with the Mexican pizza. Y It's a Michelin experience.
that is not what Taco Bell is. So yeah, there's places like that that it's more of the adventure and the experience and not always about the food, but, sometimes also, you and I live in North Texas. The Michelin star rating is coming to Texas. And so whenever that list comes out, I would love to go and explore some of those restaurants to see, like, why did they get a Michelin star rating, versus another restaurant that's also really good.
You mentioned that. I know I've, like, seen headlines about that, but I never really read into it. So are you saying that Michelin like, the people that walk around with their clipboards and determine whether a restaurant gets a gold star, they just didn't operate around here? Like, it wasn't possible to be a starred restaurant in this area?
Correct. That
Oh,
was
okay.
not in Texas.
What changed that?
I don't know.
Okay.
There's probably enough of a petition or, people going, "Man, this is amazing restaurant. How come it's not getting more accolades?" Stuff like that. There's there's been write-ups of various chefs in the area that get James Beard awards, and so
Mhm.
I go to their restaurants, um, to try it out and just like, yeah, they're good. Kudos, thumbs up. Um, yeah, there's always and also, like, if a restaurant's in a fun, cool location, I wanna go there. So but it's all about the experience. It's not always about like, "Oh, I really need to go eat this amazing steak."
And, if it is really more about the experience than the food, I mean, this is true for especially coming from someone that I guess just more enjoyed the show of watching friends struggle with very complex and, non-Euclidean number, uh, Bloody Marys. than actually enjoying one yourself. The joy is in watching them, impale their own heads on these skewers as they try to drink the Bloody Mary, right?
No. It was more of like they got these Bloody Marys because like I don't know, that I think they got it because it was like, oh, everyone talked about it in our little chat group that was going on of like these Bloody Marys are a thing. It's so cool. You see them in like on different social media channels and stuff like that. And I will say the people that ordered those, that was their entire meal. They didn't like get an entree on top of that.
Right. Um, it's good to know that we can earn Michelin stars around here. I might have to pursue my dream of opening a restaurant.
So I went to a restaurant in Colorado one time called Cereal. It's a breakfast restaurant. But also I'm like, man, if a restaurant I'm a big fan of cereal. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, it is my meal. But I'm like, man, if a restaurant actually made their own cereal and could get a Michelin star for that,
Yeah.
like I want to try that cereal.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. If someone and it's probably going to require reservation. And if you're getting a reservation, let me know. I'll buy it from you and I'll go and enjoy it.
Well, there it is. There are secondary markets in places you might not expect. Take an assessment of what you've got that might be of value to somebody else, and realize that you can maybe get some value out of it without necessarily selling it. Um, so yeah, that's my tip of the week, Julie. Thanks for hearing me out. I told you this would connect. I told you it would.
Hey, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. We're going to keep recording.
Thanks,
No, this was
Julie.
a good topic. Very insightful. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah, yeah. And now I want some Taco Bell. Thank you.
I want cereal. Bye.